Hello and welcome to the introduction to containers. My name is Merritt Counts and I am making this series as a very base framework for more advanced classes. So, are we ready to start touching containers? This is the second lesson. This is the time to start actually doing stuff with containers. Not yet. And I'm sorry. I like to lay a very firm and secure framework and base work. And because of that, I think that we need to learn a little bit more about the ecosystem. Now, I'm going to start talking about some acronyms that you might see as you begin your search. The first one is going to be the OCI. OCI stands for Open Container Initiative. This was originally started by Docker. So what is the OCI? The OCI stands for Open Container Initiative. Its goal and objective is to facilitate the creation of industry standards around containers. It means for both the runtimes as well as the container formats themselves. In simple terms, it's the reason that both CRI-O and Docker can run the same images. Both of these runtimes are run at the OCI spec. And don't worry, I know we're talking about images before really explaining what an image is. I assure you, it has nothing to do with the kernel. There is no kernel in the image. These are containers, not VMs. The OCI creates standards around how to make images and how to run them. This is cool, but not the end of the important specs. OCI concerns itself with the images and running those images, but how applications interface with these runtimes is defined by the CRI, or the Container Runtime Interface. This was created by Kubernetes back in version 1.5, so a while ago, and was designed to let people programmatically interface with container runtimes. But why would you want different container runtimes? And Merrick, I thought you said they all run on the kernel. They do all run on the kernel, but different runtimes, different container runtimes bring different things with them. Some are easier to use, some might have more security. And all of this depends on what your business needs are. And my job here is to empower you to make the best decisions you can, not only for your business, but for you yourself. Why you would want different container runtimes is pretty much probably another lesson in a more advanced topic. Just understand that there are different container runtimes, and this is generally a very good thing. Now, in the majority of my lessons, we're going to use Docker. Why do I use Docker? The Docker is easy. It also is easy to use on other systems. Tools like CRI-O don't have a native way to run on Windows and Mac because containers don't run on Windows and Mac. Docker has a fantastic ecosystem that wraps all of this and hides the complexity of starting a VM in Windows and then proxying all your requests to that kernel that's running in a VM. So this is why in this lesson, we're going to learn with Docker. So if you'd like to, now is the perfect time to start installing Docker. Docker is an OCI compliant runtime that also uses a backend called Containerd that is compliant with the CRI. I'm going to show you how to install this on Ubuntu. If you're running on Mac or Windows, there are links to how to install with that. And if you are running on something else, there is the link to the Docker documentation. So go ahead, jump on that documentation, install it for your platform, and then join me back in lesson 3. Now, if you're still here and you want to install it on Ubuntu, it's quite simple. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to run apt to remove Docker, Docker Engine, Docker.io, Containerd, and runc. These are old versions and you don't want them installed right now. Then you're going to run apt update. Then you're going to run apt get and install these tools right here because this is what we're going to need. Then we're going to curl the Docker GPG key and we are going to add the Docker keyring. At this point, we can add the Docker repository, run apt update again, and then install Docker CE, Docker CE CLI, and Containerd.io. That is how easy it is to install Docker. And at this point, you're ready to join me in lesson 3 and start actually running containers.